So I was reading a story about the Pac-2 yesterday, and I was wondering how this situation was going to unfold with the college football playoff, the automatic bids, the Pac-2. Everybody knows how the Pac-12 couldn't get a media rights deal done because they're just inept, and all the teams left, other than Oregon State and Washington State. So with the new playoff structure, as most people know, and if you don't, I'll explain. The conference champion of each Power 5 conference is guaranteed a top 6 seed in the college football playoff. And then that one extra seed goes to the top ranked at large non-Power 5 team. Okay. But all that was contracted and made a thing before we knew that the Pac-12 was going to become the Pac-2. Well, on the day of the national championship game, the College Football Playoff Committee met up, and I think it was going to be one of those situations where everybody was ready to try to vote on whether or not they were going to be able to have any say-so, or if the Pac-12 was really a conference at this point. And due to the contract, you're not going to be able to tell Washington State and Oregon State that they're not a conference, a Power 5 conference. They're going to hold on to this. With all that being said, the president of Washington State, and I know his last name is Scholes. Let me pull it up here. Kirk Scholes is the president of Washington State. He just so happens to be on the playoff committee. So
it's convenient.
He controls a vote, and to take a conference out of the automatic seeding, you have to have a unanimous vote. And so there is a 0% chance that this guy at Washington State, who's the president of an organization that's about to make all that Pac-12 money, by the way, them and Oregon State are just going to split it the next 2 years. There is no way they're going to cede their bid to these other conferences. It's just not going to happen. So now we're in a situation where I don't even understand who Washington State and Oregon State are going to play. Who are they going to play? I don't even know.
Yeah, they do have a weird agreement with the Big 12 where they'll play each other, of course, and then they'll just be kind of doing non-con games with the Big 12, and that's going to decide who their champion is, I guess. I'm not sure how like the conference championship will work, but I know that their regular season is it incorporates the Big 12 more than anything. They're basically Big 12 teams.
Yeah. Well, here we are, and we've got the college football playoff stuck in the mud again. Its wheels are spinning. We're stuck in this perpetual state for probably the next 2 years. As these teams collect their money and collect their college football playoff bid. So are we going to have a situation where we've got an easy dub on the board for whoever's playing the 5th or 6th ranked college football playoff ranked team? What's your thoughts on this? And this is not good for quality control as far as the college football playoff is concerned. We're going to leave out a good team to put in a really shitty team is what I'm saying.
Right. And I don't know. I think that we could see an instance where, the vote comes out and things do change. I think that there could be this guy, Schultz, could end up being a sensible person, right? And say, hey, I have a responsibility as part of this committee to do what's best for college football, not what's best for Washington State. I don't think that's unreasonable to ask, right? Humanly, I think that would be the ethical thing to do. So perhaps we can restore faith in humanity if Schultz is able to make the right decision here. But obviously, there's also the reality that humans are selfish, and we may not get that.
Yeah,
So
and what would you be thinking if you're Washington State's board of directors
whew,
and your president just gave away literally millions of dollars,
yeah.
and here you are. This is a get rich as hell quick scheme for Washington State.
Mhm.
I get what you're saying. The right thing for college football would be for them to bow out. But
But he would be fine. Like, he would get hired again as a president. You know what I mean? Like, you jumped on the grenade for the rest of the platoon, like, you're gonna get a Medal of Honor. Um, so I don't know. To me, I think if you go that route and you say, all right, he doesn't vote to disband the Pac-2, and things stay the way they are for 2 years. Like, what's the difference, right? The Pac-2 getting a team in, or the FCS getting a team in, right? Like, I don't know that there's much of a difference there. So I think that ultimately what I would like to see is for college football to say, hey, we're just going to get the top 12 teams. We don't care where they come from. Like,
yeah,
top
well,
four seeded will get a bye.
yep.
But this whole conference champion stuff, I don't buy it. I don't believe in it. I want to see the most competitive teams and the most competitive games.
Yeah, well, I totally 100% agree with you. But each conference will receive $300,000 for each of its schools that meets the requirements for participation in the postseason game, in each postseason game, and then the conference receives $6 million for each team that's selected for a semifinal game. So when you're sitting here talking about, you know, and then if they make it to the playoff semifinal, each team gets another 2.85 million. Um, so I mean, my God, you can't turn that down.
Yeah.
I mean, you just cannot turn that down. I mean, as I run a business, where you work in business, you're a sales guy, you know numbers. If you cost your business seven figures, there's going to be some people with some stank walking around about you. You
Hmm.
know, I mean, and that's business in general. There's always going to be people that don't like you, and I'm sure that Kirk Schultz is I'm sure not everybody likes the president of the university, but you can't give that money up, especially whenever you're in a time of turmoil and don't know what the hell is which way is up. And they've got college football held at gunpoint right this second. And unless he gives this vote away, there's no chance that we're going to have the real 12 teams. Like you said, I want the 12 best teams in there. This is why whenever we came up with this program, I was not in favor of this automatic bid system. What if something changes? What if the Pac 12 is horrible one year? Really was what I was thinking. I had no way to know that it was going to go down to two teams. But I'm thinking, if you take away last year, the Pac 12 has been really shitty for years and years and years. So, for the most part, since USC's run, right? So, it's like, what if they have a really shitty year? And so we're just going to automatically give them a top bid because, I never liked that. And I always thought that the SEC and the Big Ten were doing themselves a disservice because the third best team in the Big Ten is undoubtedly going to be better than the first place team in the Big 12. I'm sorry. It just is.
Hmm.
That's where we are in college football at this point. So these automatic bids have got to go away. They've got to go away. They've got to do away with this stuff. But I'm afraid that we're going to be stuck here for a little while because, I have hope for humanity as well that people will do the right thing. And there's no way that Washington State is walking away from this money in a time like this. They're going to continue to collect those checks and then not to mention everything that goes into the coffers for the Pac-2 whenever it shuts down, divide it up. They get the money. So we're kind of in a situation where I think we're kind of stuck.